Now that everyone is talking about Britney Spears and her restrictive conservatorship, many are also pointing to the various people over the years that tried to warn us about the conservatorship in the past and the negative impact that it's had on Britney. I'm Mackenzie, and let's get into the top 5 celebrities that warned us about Britney Spears' conservatorship. But first, make sure to subscribe if you're new here. And at number 5, Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton recently opened up about her traumatic childhood after keeping it a secret for most of her life. In her documentary, This Is Paris, Hilton alleged that she'd been subjected to toxic and abusive treatment while attending Provo Canyon School in Utah, which was a boarding school for troubled teens. Hilton revealed that while she was there, she would be isolated and solitary for no reason, and be forced to take pills that made her feel numb. The conversation around Paris's school was recently brought up by Britney during her court testimony. Spears said, quote, "To be honest with you, the Paris Hilton story on what they did to her in that school, I didn't believe any of it. I'm sorry, I'm an outsider, and I'll just be honest, I didn't believe it." At first, many of Paris's fans thought that Britney was being rude and disrespectful. However, others figured that Britney was drawing parallels in her life to Paris's, essentially saying that many people were skeptical of Paris even though it was the truth because it was such an unbelievable story. However, Britney wants us all to know that secret things like this happen often in Hollywood, and it happened to Britney too. Paris Hilton also liked many tweets to this effect, hinting that Britney brought it up to paint another picture of Britney's terrible treatment during her conservatorship. Paris has also commented on the Free Britney movement. After framing Britney Spears was released, Hilton said, quote, "It makes me feel really sad for her because she's such a sweet girl and has such a big heart, and I just can't imagine being controlled like that. You know, when you're an adult and you've worked your whole life for building this empire and then just to be treated like a child, it's not fair." And at number 4, Chris Crocker. Back in 2007, during one of Britney's worst moments, Chris Crocker made a video as a plea for help that quickly went viral. To give you a quick refresher on the video, it shows Crocker crying while yelling, quote, "Leave Britney alone," to the camera. But after learning what we know now about Britney, it's clear Crocker was right. In the video, Crocker outlines everything that Britney had been going through up until that point, saying that she had deaths in her family, went through a divorce, and was going through a custody battle. So because of all those things, we just needed to leave Britney alone and stop bashing her in the media. Crocker said, quote, "Have we learned nothing from Anna Nicole Smith? I know it's hard to see Britney Spears as a human, but trust me, she is. She's a person." And even though tons of sense was made in the video, Crocker actually got tons of hate after making the video, and they were ridiculed in the media and in real life because of the viral video. With the recent talks surrounding the Free Britney movement, Crocker addressed the past video in an Instagram post, where Crocker says that they were mocked and ridiculed by other members of the LGBT community because they felt that Crocker had given the community a bad name. However, thankfully times have changed, and not only have differences been embraced by society, we are all united on the fact that Britney needs to be treated better by the media, legal system, and her family. And at number 3, Craig Ferguson. Back in 2007, when Britney was the media's punching bag, Craig Ferguson decided to do the opposite of what every other late night host was doing at the time and defend Britney instead of ridicule her. Apparently, the same weekend that Britney had her infamous meltdown where she shaved her head was Ferguson's 15-year anniversary of sobriety. So instead of taking shots at her during his monologue, he decided to change course and empathize with her instead. During the 12-minute monologue, Ferguson said, quote, "I want to be able to be funny, but I want to be able to get some sleep." Adding, quote, "It looks to me like Britney Spears has a similar problem going on with alcohol. This woman has 2 kids. She's 25 years old. She's a baby herself. She's a baby, and the thing is, you can embarrass somebody to death. It's embarrassing to admit you're an alcoholic," basically relating his struggles with alcohol to whatever she was dealing with at the time. Ferguson spoke about the support during a Sirius XM show in 2019, where he said he was pretty sure that he was actually going to be getting fired for not making fun of Britney like every other late night host. He ended that the decision ended up benefiting him later in life. For one of his stand-up shows, he wanted to use "Oops, I Did It Again," but everyone told him that there was no way that was going to be approved. However, when his team reached out to Britney, she remembered what he did for her, and Britney let him use the song for free. So definitely a case of good karma. And at number 2, Amber Tamblyn. Actress Amber Tamblyn, who started working when she was just a child, recently revealed the family dynamic between children that work and their parents that manage them. In an op-ed for the New York Times titled "Britney Spears' Raw Anger and Mine," Tamblyn discussed the parallels between her life and Britney's. First, Tamblyn spoke about her own acting work as a child, saying that she started to financially support her entire family, adding, quote, "As I made more and more money, the circle of those I supported opened up to include extended family members and friends. I was everyone's ATM, a bank that was nonetheless unconditionally loved. Still, as I got older, it got harder to trust the source of that love." She also says that even though her parents were ethical when they managed her, it still damaged their relationship to have her parents working for her. Eventually, she decided to fire them from her management. In reference to Britney, Tamblyn said, quote, "As someone who's experienced a small taste of what Britney has gone through, I know that what she's done is a profoundly radical act. When I see her giving her testimony now, I can't help but think back to that bald Britney in 2007, raw in her rage and tired of being everyone's spectacle." She ended the piece by thanking Britney for speaking up, even though it has been difficult. Quote, "Our autonomy, both bodily and physical, is worth fighting for," adding that it's up to us to listen and fight for Britney now. And finally, at number 1, Beyonce. Beyonce is another superstar that was heavily controlled by her father, Matthew Knowles, in the beginning of her career. When she was just starting out, she was in girl group Girls Time, which eventually turned into Destiny's Child, and her father would make most of the tough decisions, as well as take huge payments from the group. According to the Mirror, Matthew was also incredibly harsh with the girls, and was not empathetic to any mistakes. One source said, quote, "Matthew did not mince his words, and it can be tough to take that kind of criticism when you're a little girl." Eventually, the troubles going on in the family's personal life started to affect business, and after Beyonce's mother Tina divorced Matthew, Beyonce also fired him as her manager. Since then, their relationship has somewhat recovered, but it took many years. Neither Solange or Beyonce decided to attend their father's wedding to Gina Avery. Beyonce also spoke about her father and her song Daddy Lessons, with fans thinking that some of the lyrics about infidelity were not only about Jay-Z, but also on her father's infidelity on her mother. And although Beyonce was not as heavily controlled as Britney, Beyonce was definitely heavily guided by her father, who would not take no for an answer. So that's all for the list, guys. Let me know your thoughts below. But before I go, I'm gonna shout out some comments from my video on Creepshow art. So Jules said, "I feel so bad for supporting her in the past. When people say that they had a bad feeling about her, I thought it was just because she could go over the top with aggressive language at times." Yeah, I watched a few of her videos here and there, and I didn't really get any bad vibes. I wasn't like a super frequent supporter, but I mean, we can never know these things about people online. Liz said, "The issue with Creepshow art is that it proves, even in your close inner circle, you never know where the wolves are hiding." It's really so true. You never know with people. People are just such good actors. It is so crazy when the truth comes out, but thankfully it usually always does. Sometimes it can just take longer than it should. Then Amanda said, "Internet gods, please take Creepshow and bring back Jenna." Yeah, Jenna coming back would be great. I feel like she's just had so much peace at this point, being off the internet for, I don't know, a year and a half. She probably doesn't figure it's worth it to come back, honestly. Alright guys, that's all for the video today. Thanks so much for sticking around if you made it all the way here. If you liked the video and want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel below. I've been your host, Mackenzie Smith. Make sure to check us out on social media, and I'll catch you all in the next one.